Hello, Husky Nation. Welcome to Beyond the Bench, a weekly series where we sit down with each of our head coaches here at Bloomsburg University to get thoughts about their program, themselves, and what it means to be a Husky. This week's episode is sponsored by PSECU. We would like to thank them and the rest of our corporate sponsors for their continued support of Husky athletics. I'm Dave Leiserich, Sports Information Director here at Bloomsburg. Today's guest on Beyond the Bench is the head coach of the new Huskies women's golf program, Gary Sohosky. Gary, thank you for taking a few moments here to join us today.
Thanks for having me, Dave. It's a pleasure.
I know it's a little difficult to talk golf here in December in Pennsylvania and with several inches of snow on the ground, but we're going to give it a whirl anyway, right?
That sounds good. We've been fortunate up to this point. I mean, we had pretty warm weather up till the middle of December. People were playing golf right up till the 15th or 16th. So yeah, we were pretty lucky this year actually to get that much time in.
Yeah, it has been unusual, but the snow has caused a little problem this week, I think.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, it'll be a while before anybody's out there again.
Exactly. So, Coach, first off, let's get to know you a little bit. Talk about your background and where you were prior to coming to Bloomsburg.
Well, I've been at numerous country clubs and golf courses around the Northeast here, most recently Frosty Valley and Mill Race. I've also been head coach of the Penn College of Technology golf team back in the late 90s and early aughts. We won. I was there for 6 years. We won 3 championships, and I was coach of the year 1 year. So pretty thrilled about that. And I've run several golf schools. One up in Vermont, one in Arizona, one up in the Poconos when I was up there. So I've had a lot of experience with teaching and coaching people.
So what led to your decision to take over the head coaching position here at Bloomsburg?
Well, I was thrilled to hear, first of all, that they were starting a team. I know that some of my friends, when they were in college here, were on the men's team when we had a men's team. As soon as I heard about that, I thought, oh my gosh, that would be perfect for me being right here at home and working with BU. And so, teaching and coaching has always been my passion. Something I just love, working with young people, getting them going in the right direction, hopefully giving them a little bit of help for not only golf, but for their life in the future.
You were hired in January. 2 months later, the pandemic hit and essentially shut things down. Describe this crazy year for you, and how have you been able to navigate to get the women's golf program started?
Yeah, it was tough. And actually it was going to be challenging no matter what. I was hired in January. So most of the young women that I was trying to recruit had already been recruited since the sophomore June after their sophomore year. So I was trying to find people who had already been recruited. So almost everyone that I had contacted said they had committed elsewhere, which obviously that was going to make things challenging to start with. I did have a fair amount of interest though, even at that rate. But as soon as the pandemic hit, that just washed everything out. And it was just obviously a difficult thing. I mean, with all the uncertainty, you could understand why parents wouldn't want to send their children somewhere very far from home. So most of them decided to stay from home or stay close to home.
So over the course of the first few months, what are some of the selling points you've been using to get student athletes here and interested in Bloomsburg?
Well, I think the one thing that I've seen the most that has even surprised me just a little bit is how every single person at the university that I've come in contact with has just bent over backwards to help me try to succeed with what I'm doing. And I've seen that with the students as with faculty and students as well. That's an easy thing to use to sell people. And I mean, I think it's pretty rare. I haven't heard that from a lot of other people at other universities. So I think that's one of the major things. My background in the game certainly helps. My children have been good golfers. Parents can look at my Facebook page and see what my kids have done and what I've done with them. So that gives me a little bit of credibility right off the bat. I'm also a PGA member. 2 of the young women who I've signed on already are also PGA members and teachers. So we have a bit of a kindred spirit there. And, they feel more comfortable in trusting their daughter to someone who's an instructor and a PGA pro. So that's made things a little bit easier to be able to do that. Certainly some if not most of our majors and disciplines are exceptional. I mean, you look at the business school, nursing, and I've had a number of girls that are interested in nursing, and that's an easy sell because we're the best in the state. So lots of easy things to use to sell BU, because it is a great place.
So how would you describe your coaching philosophy, and who's had the greatest impact on your coaching style?
Well, I guess first and foremost, I have to say that I'm a teacher and an educator. Always have been, whether it's golf or if I worked, teaching a class of some sort, that would be different too. But basically, I'm just love working with young people. I love to help them get themselves going in the right direction. As I said, not just with their golf game, but with their life as well. I know that my hero as far as coaches go was John Wooden from UCLA. I grew up watching him, mold young, tremendous talent athletes into great teams and giving them a blueprint for their future, not just in basketball, but also in life. So his philosophies, and I've read a couple of his books. I mean, the man was just he was amazing.
With this spring being the first time for competition in the program's history, what does the team look like, and what can we expect here in year one?
Well, we have just one girl signed on to the team for the 2021 season. Of course, with COVID, that was never going to be easy to get many more. It looks like we'll have a limited schedule, if indeed we're even able to play. Hopefully we will be. Maybe go to one or two tournaments this spring. We see how things go. Now, come the fall, though, I've got a tremendous amount of interest. I've been in touch with almost 25 girls consistently. I'm getting, I think 10 or 11 of them have already applied. Most are accepted already. So I've got a really nice group of girls coming in from this fall. I have actually some tremendous interest from overseas. I have a girl from France who I'm almost certain who's coming. A girl from India who is also, I'm almost certain it's coming as well. Have had interest from, Russia, Iceland, Sweden. It's amazing. And I was, not that I was entirely surprised, because here in the United States, there just aren't a lot of girls playing golf here. I had a friend of mine who's an AD at another college, was at a seminar not too long ago, and he told me, this was a startling stat that I had heard. He said that right now, 60% of women's golf scholarships, D1 women's golf scholarships, go unused every year, 60%. And I was shocked by that. And if you look at their rosters, you'll see if there's 10 girls on the team, 7 of them are foreign. There just aren't as many girls playing golf here. Now, hopefully, with everything that's gone on, golf has had a bit of resurgence this year, and maybe we see more participation here coming in the future. So that's what I'm hoping for.
And what types of students are you looking for, and how do you bring that international talent here?
Well, there's a couple of websites. The one that I've been using most is called NCSA. It's Next College Student Athlete, and they have a tremendous amount of young people on there looking for places to play golf, and that has been my main focus. There's also Junior Golf Hub, a couple of other ones, lesser ones that I've used as well, and it just seems to have generated a tremendous amount of interest for it, especially considering it's a new program. But also there's I had one girl, as a matter of fact, she had been at her program in high school from the onset. They didn't have one, and she was their first player. So she felt like she helped to build the team and get it started, and she wants to come here and help to do the same thing. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, just young people who are really interested in building a program, and I'm hoping that I can follow in the tradition of athletics at BU, because it is a pretty good one. I mean, we've got every one of our sports is pretty competitive. And that's another thing that I think you can use as certainly a selling point for sure.
Well, we are certainly looking forward to it. I had the privilege of covering golf at my previous institution at Mercyhurst, a PSAC school as well. So looking forward to getting back to covering golf, and I don't mind playing as well. So I might need to lean on you a little bit to improve my game too. So.
Absolutely. If you call me anytime.
So Gary, let's have a little fun now as we'll wrap up this interview. What were some of your, if you had a favorite sports team growing up?
Yeah, and still do. I'm an Eagles fan from way back. Not having a lot to cheer about this year, but we did get our Super Bowl a couple of years ago, so that was exciting. So that they've been really probably the one that I've been most excited about.
Favorite athletes, any of those?
Yeah, that would have to be Ben Hogan, famous golfer. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Absolutely.
Always was admired the man and his work ethic and how all the things that he did. Actually named my son after him. So he has a little bit of something to live up to. And he's well on the way to doing it. Yep.
That's great. That's great. Big shoes to fill. That's for sure. So
there are, that's for sure. Yeah.
How about a favorite movie, Coach?
Probably a couple of them. Braveheart has always been one of my faves, and Shawshank Redemption. I'm an avid moviegoer, so I've seen thousands and thousands of movies. So I could name 100 more, but those are the two that really always stand out. Shawshank
Redemption seems to be a very popular answer on this show. That's for sure.
Yeah, it really is. It's been. I mean, it's a fantastic movie, and I think it's one that everyone can relate to. And it's a hell of a story.
Yep. Favorite food?
Well, every time I go to, and I used to move around when I was younger, so every time I would move to a new place, the very first place I would go is try to find the very best Chinese food wherever I could find it.
Excellent. Hey, there you go.
So I would always try a few different restaurants, and then finally focus in on one, and then I ended up getting either my takeout or going there regularly. So that was the first thing.
I love Chinese
first order of business in a new city. Yeah.
There you go. That's perfect. And there are a couple around here too, so that's helpful.
There are. Yep.
How about any music you're into? Musicians, bands that you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Obviously growing up and all the music from my era when I was growing up in high school and the mid to late 70s and throughout the 80s. Obviously a big Beatles fan when I was growing up, early on in my life. They were a big influence. U2 in the 80s and 90s. And then most recently, I kind of like Linkin Park. Not a real fan of rap, but they blend things together pretty nicely. And there's some great songs, great lyrics. So
I like Linkin Park too. And I can be truthfully honest. I did not expect that coming from you.
Yep. I have a bit of an eclectic interest for sure.
That's excellent. I love that. So, if you could meet anyone, past or present, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Well, I'll go back to my favorite sports person, and that would be Ben Hogan. Just admired the man so much, heard so many stories and anecdotes about him, and all the books that I've read about him. I feel like I know him already, and I would just love to actually meet the man and say hello and shake his hand and just talk to him for 15 minutes. It would be probably the thrill of my life.
It'd be a wonderful conversation, that's for sure. And then
I believe so.
I know you've only been here a year, but you've been in the area for a little while. What's the best thing so far about Bloomsburg University?
I think from what I've been able to tell, and I think people that live here, we tend to take Bloom for granted a little bit, that it's here, don't know as much about the school as everybody should really. And once you get to know it, I think as much as anything, it's just the amount of positivity there is among everyone on campus. The willingness to help people, the willingness to do whatever they need to do to get the job done. And I said that earlier, it's rare in my experience. I've worked at numerous places and been involved with a lot of different organizations, and it's something that it just seems to permeate the entire institution here, which again is a great selling point. It's been wonderful for me just to be able to lean on anybody and ask anybody a question that are more than happy to answer and help out in any way they can.
Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you for a few minutes here today. We really appreciate you joining us, and we're looking forward to getting the program off the ground here and see what the Huskies can bring on the golf course as well.
Thanks, Dave. It sounds great. I'm really looking forward to it.
And happy holidays to you and your family as well.
Same to you and yours.
Thank you, Gary. Head coach Gary Sohosky of the Bloomsburg University Women's Golf Program. We'd like to thank Husky Nation for tuning in to Beyond the Bench. Join us again next week as we will visit with another Huskies head coach. We'd also like to thank once again PSECU for sponsoring today's episode. For information on everything Huskies, visit our website at buhuskies.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Dave Leisering. We'll see you next week on Beyond the Bench. Have a great day and go Huskies.